Hello and welcome back to another episode of your favourite educational podcast. I think men are afraid of the word chic. Colloquially, it is quite a feminine word. A couple of months ago, there was a trend going around on TikTok where women were making videos on niche things they find chic.
These are very niche things that, in my opinion, make you so cool. Also, these are things I find very chic.
Things that I find incredibly chic. I have seen so many people do this and I just want to do this trend. So it's gonna be super niche. So some of you might not even think these are chic. These are just things I'm obsessed with. First, and 100% short nails.
And I concocted a very interesting commentary on whether or not this was true. And in case you've forgotten, I actually ran a statistical test that used raw data I had gathered myself that determined that short nails are not in fact niche. But that video was read through the feminine lens, and today I wanted to analyse the word chic through the masculine lens. Men use the word niche where women use the word chic. But I think you are misinformed on the definitions of both, to be honest. So for the misinformed, I've taken the liberty of sourcing the dictionary definitions of both niche and chic. Let's start with niche. The adjective niche, because you also have the noun niche, or how we in the industry like to refer to it as your niche, the shortened term for finding your niche. A common phrase used in the era of everyone wanting to have a YouTube channel when you were deciding what to niche down on. Again, another definition of niche. You may also know it as your niche, which is absolutely ridiculous. What an ugly word. Sounds like itch. But anyway, the definition of niche as an adjective, which is the most popular use of it, I believe, at the moment, denoting products, services, or interests that appeal to a small, specialised section of the population. Okay, so you can see by this definition why it may not be considered niche to have short nails. And I tested that under the parameters that something niche, applies to less than 10% of the population. If we consider niche to mean less than or equal to 10% of the population, our null hypothesis is less than 10% of people will have natural nails to be considered niche. Using a sample size of 3,299 men and women, with an observed proportion of 65% of people having natural nails, we can calculate the standard error as 0.0051. The resulting z-score was 107.84, yielding a p-value of close to 0. Given that the p-value is much smaller than the significance level of 0.05, we can reject the null hypothesis and conclude that more than 10% of people have natural nails, so by its quantitative definition we gave niche, natural nails are not niche. Okay, but really, actually, I wanted to talk to you about the word niche. No, the word chic. Really? Dear oh dear. I wanted to talk to you about the word chic, because the word niche, you can do that one. So firstly, dictionary definition. Chic is defined as elegantly and stylishly fashionable. Now, immediately we can see here why men are so afraid to call themselves chic, because you can see in the example definition how you would use this word in a sentence. They use a woman to exemplify the definition. Furthermore, if we look up the definition of elegant, we are provided with a linguistic aid. She will look elegant in black. And then, of course, being the pedant I am, I also looked up stylishly and fashionably, and the definitions both referenced each other, so I found the argument getting rather cyclical and I was getting a bit bored. Nevertheless, of course, you'll have guessed it. So you had no hope, did you, really? Poor men. But on this channel, we don't discriminate. I don't hate men. I don't hate women. I hate everyone. But by that definition, if you're a glass half full type of person, firstly, you would hate me. But also, if you equally hate everyone, you will also equally love everyone. Is that true? I don't know, I'm confusing myself with my own pessimism. Equally hating someone is the same as equally loving someone, isn't it? I'm confusing myself here. What I'm suggesting is that hating everyone equally is the same as loving everyone equally, in the same way that a glass half full is the same as a glass half empty. That was a rather long-winded explanation for something really quite irrelevant. I think we need to redefine chic. Chic, by its dictionary definition, is the same as quiet luxury, actually. Quiet luxury, according to Wikipedia, is a lifestyle characterized by understated elegance. And quiet luxury, old money, stealth wealth are all the same thing. They're just different verbal iterations according to what era of the trend you're in, I think. Maybe you could argue that quiet luxury focuses on the fashion aspects of old money, but for the sake of the current narrative, let's just say they're the same thing. Quiet luxury, old money, whatever, looks something like this. An aesthetic that perpetuates the idea that you are so rich you don't need to tell people that you're rich. And as I said, by its dictionary definition, we would assume that chic would mean the same thing. However, the women of TikTok are using it in a slightly different way to its prescribed definition, allowing me to demonstrate with the following.
Here are some more things that I think are really chic. When people have like a big bag that's like really overfilled and almost messy. Next one, distressed denim, but you can tell that it's actually like lived in and worn in distressed denim. There's something about it.
So in this TikTok, chic is being used wrong. Grammatically wrong. A messy bag and lived in distressed denim is not elegant, by definition. And funnily enough, I actually sourced for you the definition of messy. And would you believe, a man is used in our example of its use. Chic at the moment means trendy, I believe, because you go through TikToks at any one point in time, and the TikToks at any certain point will all reference the same thing. A couple of months ago, when I first made the video, everyone was referencing short plain nails.
Here are some niche things that I just find so incredibly chic. Perfectly short cut, maybe a little bit of cuticle oil.
Having short nails. It's simple and it's minimal. Anything minimal is very chic.
First and 100% short nails. There's no two ways about it. I think short nails are the chicest thing ever.
And now it's apparently messy bags and jeans with holes in.
A big bag that's like really overfilled and almost messy. Next one, distressed denim, but you can tell that it's actually like lived in and worn in distressed denim.
Here's what I find authentically chic for the people that just naturally give off a chic vibe.
So actually, neither of these definitions I want to talk about today, because in our first example, I feel like we are just using a more heavily gendered, possibly less politically charged version of the term quiet luxury or old money. And in the second definition, if we follow this, we will all just look the same. So that's a bit boring, isn't it? So men, I invite you not to be afraid of using the word chic, but instead be proud that you are not chic. And so for the core of this video, I wanted to list some things I find very unchic. Number one, skin as an accessory. You don't have to wear jewelry. You do not have to accessorize. I think that 2024 and 2025 has been the pandemic of over-accessorizing and how we like to phrase it on this channel, doing too much. Skin as an accessory is very underestimated. She says, looking as she does. In terms of elegance, going back to our first definition of elegance, in the 50s, the Marilyn Monroe era, it was very popular to have a backless dress that revealed the butt crack. I believe that this was, personally, maybe subjectively, this was quite elegant. Whenever this dress was worn, and throughout history when this dress has been worn, it typically has not been worn with any jewellery. The butt crack is the jewellery. The butt crack is an accessory. I think we should bring that back. I think that that is very unchic, using our definition of unchic. And I really rather enjoy that. In recent years, during the pandemic of over-accessorization, we've been adding jewellery belts that dangle between the cheeks, necklaces worn backwards and stuff like that. And men, if we are reclaiming the word chic, or rather, if we are being proud to be unchic, I would suggest to you that in order to be unchic, maybe we would like to not accessorize. The human physical form is a very beautiful thing, particularly the aesthetic of a hand is significantly ruined by a signet ring. Just be aware that as well as intentionally accessorizing, you can also intentionally unaccessorize. Next, in the words of Lady Gaga, Baby, you were born this way. I think it's very unchic being a compliment to have crooked teeth. Crooked teeth, a monobrow, some kind of unique appearance. I really like that. Whoever redid Finnick's teeth should be hung, drawn, and quartered on the spot. There's so much personality in a unique smile. It's endearing, it's charming. The epidemic of veneers has completely destroyed that. And the uniform, all the same size, bright white teeth is actually greatly disturbing. I, myself, don't have straight teeth. Neither do I have gleaming white glowing teeth. I am fortunate enough to live in an era where I am able to change that if I so wish. But just because you can, just because everyone else is, just because you have the money to do so, doesn't mean that you should. And I choose not to. I intentionally choose not to. That choice, choosing not to do that, is a chic decision. Or an unchic decision. I'm getting myself mixed up with my definitions now because in my definition, unchic is the colloquial definition of chic. I need to stop this. Next one, perfume. You do not have to be niche to be considered nice, or to be considered interesting. And in a world where everyone is perfumed, maybe it is the most niche thing to just smell clean. You don't have to smell of blood, sweat, sperm, and saliva to be liked, to be accepted within society. And I just can't imagine it smelling nice. I mean, I can't lie. I have not tried and tested it for myself, but I do know what the components smell like. And I can't say it's the most delicious smell ever. Personally, I like the smell of white florals on myself, but I do think that there is value in each individual person having a unique scent and you having a unique scent. And I don't think that that necessarily needs to be the smell of aftershave or some wildly expensive potion and lotion. I personally would much prefer someone to smell clean and neutral than perfumed with an underlying layer of bad hygiene. I did the whole shebang on that a couple of videos ago, so whatever. Next, I'm done, bored. Next on my list is texture over color or layering. So by this I mean that it is interesting. An outfit can still be made interesting by texture. You can tell the quality of something through its texture, I believe. I examine fashion and clothing garments enough to know what a bad quality material looks like and what a good material quality looks like. A lovely wool cashmere, not only will it visually look different than a polyester, but also on yourself it will feel different. And adjacent to that, when you have something of higher quality, the feeling not just against your fingers as you touch it, but the weight of it will also be different depending on its quality, and the weight of it also changes how it moves when you walk and how it falls when you wear it. That's a chic consideration to make, or an unchic consideration to make if you are defining chic as we are. Luxury is always depicted as black, white, silver, grey, navy blue. Whenever you hear the TikToks of the niche things I find chic, it's always silver rimmed glasses and things like that. And actually a lot of people are asking for a colour analysis, colour theory video. But before I make that, I will have to educate myself on the topic because actually I don't really know much about it at all. We can't be spreading misinformation, so I will read up on that and provide you with an excellent video, I'm sure. But what I do know and can provide evidence of is that luxury is cool. Luxury is cool toned. Affordability or value is normally reds and yellows. Warm tones. It is quite disturbing how many similarities you can draw from the marketing of fashion and the marketing of food, but let me provide you with another. If you go to a supermarket and find a basic item, it will normally exist in more than one form. You normally have the option to pick a more affordable value item that, yes, is cheaper, but may not be as high quality, or you can pick the more expensive luxury item which costs more, but hopefully would be nicer. And there's definitely a colour palette dynamic. I do think it's interesting to mark the similarities between food marketing and fashion marketing, however disturbing they are, because fashion and food culturally follow each other very closely, because ultimately what you eat influences how you look. But yes, the cheaper value affordable item is always warm toned. The luxury item is always cool toned. But anyway, the point I was actually making with this was that texture is a more interesting consideration than colour or layering. You don't have to make an outfit interesting by shoving a load of things on. Personally, I hate an overlayered outfit. I hate an over-accessorized outfit. If you mindfully buy individual pieces, you should enjoy each individual piece enough that it can exist by itself. I've spoken before, in particular reference to jackets. I will always do up all of my jackets. I will always button up my jackets, hoodies, sweatshirts, jumpers, because when I wear the jacket, I want the jacket to shine by itself. I don't want it to be dulled by whatever I'm wearing underneath. There's only a certain level of attention you can deliver. You have a maximum capacity. I don't want the attention to be divided between lots of little things so that the attention is very small on everything. If I have chosen a jacket that I like, which I should have, I want to show off that jacket. I don't want to divide the attention between all the other things that I'm wearing. Psychologically, it's messy, and visually, it's messy. I don't like it. I don't like it, but do whatever you want. I don't care. Oh, the final one, which so many people say now, and it's actually it's actually boring me. It's actually boring me, but dress for yourself. And so many people say this, but let me just give you a couple of examples. I actually don't want to speak about this for too long because I think there has actually been a shift in the trends of fashion videos on the internet. Where they used to be, this is the product I enjoy, they are now, this is who you should be. And in some cases, that's quite disturbing, actually, because what if you don't know who you are? You don't like who you are. But I feel like this is maybe too much of a deep psychological discussion for right now. But maybe in the future we'll have it. Whilst the discussion in YouTube videos of products and what to wear and where to buy it, Zoella doing her monthly favourites, that kind of deal. Whilst that is sort of perpetuating consumerism, in rather an unhealthy way, I think, particularly if these are influencers being paid to promote certain products. And that's bad. However, to combat that, you have fashion channels. I feel like I'm shooting myself in the foot here. You know how fashion channels that say, be yourself, and that's fashionable. But what if you actually want fashion advice? What do you do then? So yes, I think my last point here of being unchic is be yourself. As I'm saying this, as you can see, I'm unconvincing myself that this is a good thing to say, because what if you don't know who you are? What if you don't know who you are? Sometimes it is actually nice to just follow a trend because you want to fit in. What if you're not good at anything? Or trying to find something to be good at because you're not good at anything yet. What a sad predicament to be in, but it's true for a lot of people. You know, finding your identity and as such. But anyway, let's assume that everyone is good at something, because I'm sure you are. And if you don't think you are, you just haven't found it yet. So, dressing for yourself. Example. It is very attractive when a man turns up to the function in his work attire. For example, you must have heard of the phrase, I love a man in uniform. We love a man in uniform. He, she, they, we, it loves a man in uniform. And this is true. And I don't think it's necessarily that you like the uniform. It's that you like that someone has a passion or someone is good at something. You can see it on them and they're wearing it. So for example, ladies, isn't it nice when you see the tradies out on their lunch break and they've got their work belts on and, you know, the paint on their trousers and stuff? It's always very nice to see. In contrast, if you were to wear the same thing inauthentically, buying a Carhartt jacket and brand spanking new cargos, it's not the same and you look a little bit ridiculous. This is sort of the epitome of the performative male. Tradies in their tool belts. It's very cute. It's very cute. A Carhartt jacket and cargos doesn't hit the same. And it's the same with a lot of different aesthetics. It's not just the Carhartt jacket. It's every single aesthetic, the old money, luxury, quiet luxury aesthetic. Someone who genuinely owns a yacht and a summer house looks something like this, okay? This I actually find more charming and more endearing than this. I personally think that authenticity is being weaponized at the moment. It's another marketing technique, it's another trend, it's another aesthetic. But if you strip all that away and just go back to what authenticity actually means, it is more endearing, it is more charming, it is more attractive to be authentic than it is to perform. And I'm not really sure if I explained that in an exceptional way, but I hope that you understand what I mean. So, in conclusion, men are not chic. But who wants to be chic anyway? That is everything we have time for today. I really hope you enjoyed the session that we have together. I know I certainly did, and I'm looking forward to next time we meet. Do come again very incredibly soon. See you in the very near future. We are so close to 1 million subscribers, so please do subscribe, like, comment. Because my manager told me I had to tell you that.
Oh. That's it, I'm not going.